Hi everybody, and it's Keep Catholic Season 3, Episode 10, and before we get into today's topic, I want to say thank you guys so much for 600 subscribers. Last week, I just got past 500, and I am now to 600 subscribers. I want to say thank you guys so much for all of my new subscribers. Just to let you guys know, I post one video every Tuesday, so one video will be coming out each week. Now today's topic and today's saint are both viewer requests. And today's topic is the process of electing a pope. So let's get into it. So first I want to tell you guys who is eligible to be elected a pope. Now 90% of the time it is a cardinal that becomes pope. Now the cardinal is not the priest, not a bishop, but above a bishop and above a priest, a cardinal. And they are all the ones who vote on a new pope. And most of the time, the new pope is a cardinal. However, technically, any male single Catholic, priest or not a priest, is allowed to become pope. Now, this rarely happens because the last time a non-cardinal who was elected pope was in 1379. That is such a long time ago, so it's very rare that somebody who is not a cardinal is elected pope, but it is possible. So when they elect a new pope, all of the cardinals gather in what is called the conclave, and that is where they vote on a new pope. So each cardinal has a piece of paper, and they each write down a name on it in order to determine who the new pope will be and vote. Once a cardinal has voted, they bring their paper up to the altar, raise it high so that they know that they voted, and slide it into the chalice. The votes are then tallied up by 3 cardinals, and then they come to a decision and see who got the most votes. Now, most of the time, in order to be elected a pope, you need 2/3 or more of the vote. But if they do it over and over again and nobody gets 2/3, then all it is majority, which means just a little bit over 50%. So most of the time, it requires 2/3 of the votes, but if it's too many times that they voted and they don't have 2/3 of the votes, then it just becomes what is called an absolute majority, which is a little bit over 50%. Now, once a new pope is elected, they will take the tally sheets and burn them in the fire. Now, this fire will come out of the conclave and create white smoke, so that the world standing outside of the conclave knows that a new pope has been elected. Also, the bells will ring so that they know the new pope has been elected. Now, if a new pope isn't elected, then they will just start the fire, which will create black smoke coming out of the basilica. So if it is black smoke, it means a pope has not yet been elected, and if it is white smoke, it means that a pope has been elected. Now, what's happening on the inside of the conclave when a pope is elected is the future pope will walk up to the altar. And in the rare case that the future pope is not a cardinal that is present there, then they will receive a phone call telling them that they have been voted pope, and they will then fly or drive to the conclave. Whether they are going to agree to be pope or not, they are going to fly or drive to the conclave. Then they will walk up to the altar, same case as if it is a cardinal, and somebody called the Camerlengo will then ask them if they are willing to assume the position of pope, and then ask them what their name will be as pope. And now again, in the rare case where this future pope is not yet a bishop, then the Camerlengo will then do the ceremony making him a bishop, and then from there make him pope. Now, the future pope has to be a bishop because the pope is technically also the bishop of Rome. So you can't just go from priest to pope. You have to go from bishop to pope because the pope is the bishop of Rome. Also, when the cardinals gather in the conclave to vote, the voting is divinely inspired by the Holy Spirit. They pray a lot when they vote, and they ask the Holy Spirit for guidance. So when somebody is elected pope and they go up to the altar and they are asked if they will assume the position of pope, and they say no, that's kind of like going against the Holy Spirit. But it's hard to say yes because it's stress. There's a lot of things you have to do as pope. Pope Francis originally wasn't too sure about it, but it was divinely inspired by the Holy Spirit. So with the help of the Holy Spirit, they vote and elect a pope. Now, most of the time, a pope is a pope until he dies. Recently, Pope Benedict actually retired as pope before his death, which is very rare that that ever happens. And 99% of the time, the pope is the pope until they die. Now, in the case when the pope dies, the Camerlengo has to confirm the death along with medical staff, and then call the cardinals together, meet in the conclave, and elect a new pope, and it'll keep recirculating. So the election of the pope is pretty complicated, and it does take a long time before all the votes can be tallied to elect a new pope. But it's all to make sure that the future leader of the church and the Catholic Church overall will be in good hands. So now that the topic is done, do you guys know what it's time for now? It's time for the Saint of the Week. Back at the Saint of the Week set, and today's Saint of the Week is Saint Andrew. Now, Saint Andrew is Saint Peter's older brother and a very close disciple of Jesus. Now, he is not one of Jesus' apostles, but he is said to be the closest disciple. Saint Andrew was present for the Last Supper and the miracle of the loaves and fishes. Saint Andrew was so close to Jesus. After Jesus died, he began preaching around the Dead Sea. Saint Andrew was also crucified and martyred to death, but he did not want to die like Jesus. Just like Peter didn't want to die like Jesus. Peter was crucified upside down. He wanted to die differently, so he was crucified on an X-shaped cross. Now, this X-shaped cross can be seen in many of his pictures, and that's what he was crucified on. St. Andrew's feast day is November 30th, which is coming up this Thursday. St. Andrew is also the patron saint of singers, fishermen, Scotland, and Russia, and many other things. St. Andrew is someone who we should really try to look up to because he tried to be as close to Jesus as possible, just as we should try to be as close to Jesus as possible. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video. Please click the red subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video if you're not already. Please comment down below if you guys have anything that you might want to learn about. Also, please like my Facebook page at Kid Catholic. That was Kid Catholic Season 3, Episode 10, and I'll see you guys next week.